So there's three reasons for this upgrade. Number one is my health. You'll see that this dust collector is covered in all kinds of fine dust. And as someone with chronic asthma, I can tell you right now, buddy, it ain't easy being wheezy. So I've got to fix that. Number two, not enough CFM for my big planer. It probably pukes out 40% of the shavings, as does my flattening table. And third, I got hose. I got hose everywhere, and unfortunately, they're all on the floor. And I'm just tired of tripping over them, dragging them everywhere. We got to do something.
So it may not seem like it, but I've moved a lot of things around in the shop to kind of make the workflow better and make the dust collection system. And the old system is out. The new one is currently sitting in its place. And this is kind of what I have planned for my new system. Obviously here's the dust collector, 45 up. We're just gonna run 45 up that wall and down that way. And we're gonna make some kind of sweeping turns here. It's gonna run across the shop, drop for my table saw, and drop for the chop saw. This will be the slab flattening table. This will be a drop down to the floor for a sweeping thing. And then this is for my bandsaw. Well, as with any woodshop project, this has evolved and bastardized. So I've decided instead of just installing the dust collection, I'm going to kind of clean this up and then paint everything also.
So by this point, you're probably wondering, your video says it was comprehensive, and so far I haven't comprehended anything. What's going on, dude? Well, my goal here as I'm working is to kind of show you what I've found through research. In the words of Tom Hanks, I am not a smart man. There's plenty of other smart people on the internet that have produced a ton of content on this, and this video at this point is going to become hopefully an index of sorts. So as I mentioned earlier, I have asthma, so I would like to start on the health aspect of this. And a lot of the good informative places on the internet all point to one website. It's called Pentz.com, and there's a lot of information there about the dangers of sawdust and particularly the fine particles in a wood shop. And it says that a hobbyist woodworker is exposed to many multitudes more times of fine dust in his wood shop than, say, a professional cabinet worker, and that is because of the dust collection capabilities in the cabinet workshops. So that being said, this is kind of the baseline on why I'm upgrading my dust collection here, is because I just can't afford to have any more health issues past the asthma that I've already got. So if you're the reading type, Pentz.com, I'll put a link down in the description. If you're a video type, Jonathan Katz-Moses has a good video called Dust Collection 101, and it goes through all of this as well. Also put a link to that down below. Now, starting at the heart of the problem, which dust collector to buy? Again, I'm not the guy to tell you anything. I did a little bit of research before I bought mine. I found a really good deal on my unit on Marketplace. I picked it up for $1,500. I think they retail for like $2,600 before shipping and taxes and all that stuff. I just had to drive a few hours to go get it. But it is rated at 2,111 CFM, which should be light years more than what I need for my simple means here. So if you need help on which dust collector to buy, Down to Earth Woodworks has a incredible video. He put a massive amount of research into. I'll link to that one below. That should help you if you want to go and look at a dust collector that's kind of above the basic, entry level woodworking dust collectors. But a basic thing that I've found as far as how many CFM do I actually need at my tools. So I mentioned before, my planer was just not getting good collection out of it. It was because of the lack of CFM. And again, quoting Bill Pentz, we need to move about 800 CFM of air to get good fine dust collection. And I wasn't even getting chip collection out of mine. So hopefully with this new dust collector, I will be getting somewhere near that. So next, that takes us to pipe selection. And there's a lot to cover here, and I can say a little bit about this having been through all of it. I chose what is called SDR35 sewer pipe, and I chose this because it is thinner and lighter than regular PVC. Schedule 40 is what you would typically buy from the box stores. This stuff is cheaper, and it was about $350 cheaper, in fact, to go with the SDR sewer pipe than the standard 6-inch Schedule 40 PVC pipe. as far as pipe selection goes and why you should use a certain thing over another. Again, I'm an idiot, but there's other non-idiots out there. So Blake Pizzey, How to Size Dust Collection Pipe, it has a fantastic video, and it is just way more science than I could absorb on a Saturday morning. But I would say absolutely go watch that video. There's another one on the Woodworkers Guild that has a good one, and Iger Woodworks has another good video as well. So, but I will say this much about pipe selection: every inch you add, it is a non-linear relationship. So every inch you add almost doubles, if it doesn't double, your airflow capabilities. So what you want to do is maintain as large of a rigid pipe as you can off the dust collector, and then finally, at your machine, that's when you want to have your flex duct, but you want to minimize the flex duct as much as possible. A couple more points. I bought all of my pipe from a plumbing supply store. I'm in the Houston area. Moore Supply is who I chose. Do not buy from the box stores. They are insanely expensive compared to the plumbing supply houses. A second point, there's two different kinds of pipe. There's a glue joint, which is what I have here, and there's also a gasket joint. The gasket joint obviously more expensive. I don't want to glue this together, and as much as it pains me to say that because I wanted to, the wood shop, it's a fluid environment. Things move, things change. I want to be able to take this all back apart. So I also saw you can lose as much as 10% of your airflow capacity if you don't seal your joints. So what I did in this regard is I used white electrical tape to kind of wrap the joints and seal there. You're not going to see it in the video, but trust me, it's done. The last thing that I have not covered yet is grounding, and Stumpy Nubs has a great video on that. So all I can say is I think Tim Taylor would be proud. I got a new 3 horsepower dust collector with a bunch of 6-inch pipe. It's got a fancy remote control. Let's see how she sucks. So I have a blast gate on my table saw, I have a blast gate on my bandsaw. I went and opened both of those up, and I can't tell a difference in the amount of suction. This is insane. But I wanted to show you this. This is what's going on inside of my planer. I had a 4-inch hose reduced to it, and it just was not moving enough. So what I'm gonna do now is hook up my 6-inch straight to here and test it. So I thought the outlet of the planer was 6 inches, but I was sorely mistaken. This is a 6-inch PowerTech dust collection hose. You can see I've added a couple layers of foam weather stripping to kind of build up the OD of this dust collector outlet to match the ID of this pipe here. And then I'm gonna get some tape and wrap it around. So my blast gate isn't here yet, obviously, so I had to improvise with a little bit of Tyvek tape because I am impatient. So what I like to try to do now is turn this thing on and run this piece of red oak through and see just how much blowback we have out of here. So the last thing I want to talk about is cost. I am an eternal cheap ass. I think I've mentioned that many times before, so I'm never going to pay full price for anything. The dust collector itself was a marketplace find, as I mentioned. It was pre-owned but unused, so basically a brand new machine. So I was able to pick that up for $1,500, and I think retail they're like $26.80, something like that. So a lot of savings there. The pipe itself, I mentioned I bought all the pipe from Moore Supply, and everything I bought was $760, I believe, but they didn't have quite enough of the fittings I need. I bought all the fittings they had for the STR-35, so I'm short a couple of T's and a couple of Y's and a couple other little doodads here and there, which I was going to use to run over to my miter station. So I'll have to figure that out in the future. But anyways, $1,500 for the dust collector, $760, so that's $2,200. I think with the blast gates and a little bit of flex hose, which again, I'm going to reuse some of my 4-inch stuff for my router table, for my table saw, and for like here, you can see I've already got this one connected, probably another $300. So it's expensive, but as you just saw with my planer here, there's no dust anywhere. So it's a trade-off. You're going to spend some money, but your shop's going to be cleaner, you're going to be healthier, and overall, it's just a better space to work in. One thing I did not cover is spiral duct piping. I chose not to do that for a few reasons. The biggest one is I'm incredibly accident prone, and I did not want to cut my fingers on sheet metal as I trim it. So that's something else you can look into. There's plenty of other informative videos out there about spiral duct, and a few of the ones I linked to have that included in their description. So feel free to watch those if you want to learn more about spiral duct piping. Whether or not it's more expensive than this SDR pipe, I can't really say for sure because I didn't really go that route. Do your own education and make the right decisions, and let me know how you do.